Hey everybody, Avowed came out this week and I've already burned through the main mission. Normally I don't 100% games, so there's still quite a few side quests to dick around with, but I pretty much burned through the main campaign and did a good amount of the side missions in order to level up my character and my character's gear. Ultimately, it's a good game, but it's definitely not the RPG that they made it out to be. It is a action game with some RPG elements. And you can really kind of see that and feel that because the combat is pretty frantic as opposed to a traditional like Elder Scrolls style RPG. There's moments where you get completely swarmed by enemies and the combat turns more into feeling more akin to like a Doom than an Elder Scrolls. There's a skill tree, there are companions, but by the time I got to the end, none of the choices that I made really impacted my relationship with my companions at all. And I barely even scratched the surface of my skill tree. Like, there was still a vast amount of skills and upgrades to my character that I didn't even go near by the time I got to the end. The story is enjoyable enough. You're an envoy for an emperor sent to the living lands to get rid of a plague that is essentially just cordyceps zombies, which, to quote Abe Simpson, was the style at the time. Cities are populated with NPCs that just stand in place, so cities feel devoid of life. They feel kind of empty as you're running around. And there's no real, like I said, there's no real impact to any of your relationships in the game in relation to companions. You know, there's no romancing, and even if you do something that you think should just absolutely piss off a character to the point where they leave the group, it doesn't change anything. You might have one or two conversations after that where they're very disappointed in your choice, but they don't leave. And by the end, there's no change. Like, you could literally excise those couple of tersely worded conversations and you wouldn't know the difference. You wouldn't even suspect that there was something there. I didn't run into the amount of jank that people speculated there would be, or that maybe PC players encountered. I did encounter a little bit in that I did need to set it to performance mode for the controls to really feel good. Otherwise, they felt a bit sluggish, a bit floaty. There was a couple times where there were so many enemies on screen that I ran into NES style slowdown, and some of the dialogue scenes had a little bit of stuttering and jank to it, but nothing that I would say was game breaking. The designs are fine. The environments look really great. The NPCs just look like standard Western, you know, Bethesda style NPCs. There's nothing spectacular about them, but outside of a couple odd choices here and there with a couple of NPCs, there's nothing really that stands out as being horrid. You know, everything at least makes sense, you know, to either the race of the character or, you know, the species or what have you. Like, there was nothing that was out and out, just felt weird. You know, this could have been a great game, but even by the time you get to the end, that's really what stamps home that none of your choices really impact anything but the ending. And by the ending, I mean the little bits of, you know, little bit of a slideshow that is basically that wrap up, like an old movie that does and Bill went off to college, you know, basically kind of showing where all your companions and what the land is after the game is finished. Basically, kind of, that's the only thing where your choices really seem to impact anything. You make this choice, this is what happens with the land. You made these choices through the game, this is what Kai goes off and do. This is what Yahtzee goes off and does. And that's really the only thing that really seems to show any impact of your choices. Now, the other thing that really kind of blows my mind here is in selling it as this open world RPG, even though it's not, it's more of an action game, and you're going into 3 or 4 zones, that yes, those zones are open world, but it's not a big open world where you can just kind of go anywhere. And there's a lot of mountainous regions that even then kind of narrows your path. Once you're done with the main mission, that's it, you're done. There is no jumping back into the world and going out and exploring more and going into the areas you didn't go and doing the side missions you didn't do, which really handicaps the game. Especially with the way the game ends up until the slideshow, you think, okay, there's still, Dream Scourge out there that haven't been eradicated yet. So, okay, maybe you can go out and do, some missions with those. Maybe you can go out and clean up all these areas while you're doing all these side missions you didn't complete. No. Once credits roll, you're done. If you hit continue, it sends you right back to the beginning of the ending mission. So, I don't even see where they can really even fit DLC in because of the way that this ended. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do. But any DLC that they do is going to have to be factored into a complete from the beginning replay through. And I don't think this game is good enough that people are going to want to play through it again for maybe an hour or 2 of extra content in a DLC. I just don't see it. I don't think it supports that because of the style of game it is. So unless it's a DLC that they create in a way that picks up where the story left off, maybe that'll pull some people back in. But again, I don't think this game was good enough to get there. I don't think there was enough depth there where people are going to want to revisit it, unfortunately. I do think that you should play it. I think it is a fun game. I wouldn't have paid $70 for it. I played it on Game Pass. So, is it worth $70? No. Is it worth playing on Game Pass? Yes. I would say if you're playing on PC or if it comes to another format, PlayStation 5, I would say wait for a sale. Get it for like $20-$30. It's definitely, I would say, more of a $30 to $40 game than a $70 game. So those are my thoughts, and I will see you on the next video.